All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA show. So, what I'm going to talk about today is, for me, it's all about the experience, not the possession. Now, I'm not here to say that I don't care about possessions, because I've discussed this in my previous podcast. At one time, I think I was obsessed with collecting possessions. I don't know if that's kind of growing up with thinking I had lack or a less of, when the reality is I didn't. I had way more than I could have ever dreamt now looking back at my life as a child. It was amazing. I think a lot of people rip on their childhood, and if you had a horrible childhood, I feel horrible for you. But there were certain times with my mother, at being, a divorced mother, was hard at times. But overall, we had a lot of support, I think, from a lot of friends and family members, and along with both sides of my family. I can't say enough about my childhood, how I look back and can't believe it was wonderful. Let me just put it that way, and I'm not here to brag about it. But I do think being around, two sides of two different families, one that lacked a lot of things, that wanted certain things that they weren't getting at that time because of maybe their education, or they just didn't have the money or resources, like my other side of the family, who was quite wealthy, who had a lot of incredible things. That also did a lot of incredible things. So I kind of was always teeter-tottering and kind of learning about both strengths and weaknesses. And then when I got a little older, especially in my later teens, I wanted a lot of things that a lot of people underestimated how bad I wanted them, and I went after them. I got them, a lot of them. A majority of them I got. I was on a tangent to get what I wanted, and no one was going to stop me. But then I got kind of called out, actually by my ex-wife, saying, you're over the top with possessions. It became an obsession with me. It didn't matter. I was going to auctions. I couldn't buy enough furniture, jewelry, homes, cars. I just was too young, naive, spending a lot of money I shouldn't have, especially in high-end restaurants, traveling, doing all these things. And no matter what, it was a void I couldn't seem to fill. And then, just like a lot of people, you go through ups and downs. And then I realized later in my life that it's really, for me, and my buddy who's a psychologist told me, he's like, Rich, what you really have to understand a lot of times is you're about the experience. You're not necessarily like a collector who has all these things. It's the experience of going and, like, say, buying something. It's the experience of going somewhere. It's not maintaining it, though. I don't want to maintain anything. So what happened was, say you get a big house and cars, I liked it for the moment, but then I had to maintain it. Now I'm aggravated. So it kind of flips on it for me. So, I have my father, for instance. I'll just use an example. He likes collecting. He's a collector. I'm the opposite. I'm going to get rid of her. I realized I don't want, a lot of things. I want less and less to maintain, but I want to have a better and funner time, I guess you could say. And I think, too, is I know when I'm dead, it's all gone. You know what I mean? And I just want to enjoy experiences now with people. And it doesn't mean that I have to enjoy the experience with their possessions, but I will jump on board with them anytime they want. Some of my friends have beautiful sports cars, and family members, I should say, beautiful homes, boats, just tons of different things that I can enjoy with them. Restaurants, the whole thing, bars, everything. And I love going there, enjoying it, and then dipping out with any responsibility. Now, you could be like, that's kind of a wacky way to look at it, but here's the deal. And I talk about this sometimes with a lot of younger people. You don't realize a lot of times with possessions, all the, like I said earlier, a little bit, aggravation and stress that comes along with it. And it can be simple, stupid shit. I don't care even if you want a boat. Unless you've owned a boat or two, you don't realize, and especially if you don't live on a lake, all the steps it takes to not only buy the boat, but maintain the boat, get the boat on the water, and do all these things. Now, if you love it, you love it. I was just talking to my close friend about this. We had breakfast with him and his wife, and it was wonderful. And he's talking about getting a boat. He's been going to the ocean a lot. And then we discussed certain things, and he's laughing at me, and he's like, sometimes when you say this stuff, it's most, and I'm not there. I want everybody to get what they want. So I'm telling him, whatever makes you happy, for sure get it, 100%. But on the other end, remember this, and it was kind of funny because he knew I grew up on, my father had a lake house on the lake in Orlando, so we had a bunch of different boats. I also grew up with a family that collected boats, or had tons of different style boats. That goes for in Illinois and in Florida, and that includes big boats too on Lake Michigan, even on the intercoastal. So I've been around boats my entire life, let's put it that way. But I wouldn't consider myself a boater by any means. But I'm just using this for an example. But I think what I'm really trying to get to for who's listening to this is you may be somebody who loves, who thinks about collecting or wanting all these possessions, which is wonderful. But you should also consider first experiencing it, not just once or twice. And I think that's where people kind of fall short a lot of times because they do it once or twice. You're like, this is the dopest. This is the best. I love this. And a lot of times you may love it because you're not maintaining it or you don't have the expense of it behind you. But yeah, if you say you like boating, go, if you have a friend or maybe not, just go rent the boat a few times. Not just once or twice. Rent it for like a year. You could go in different places and rent boats. Also, if you want a car, like a sports car or whatever, I'm telling you, and I used to tell these to people, go rent a sports car for a week. You'll be like, I don't want to spend money. I'm like, no, I'm telling you, go do it. After a week or so, you're going to probably be like, okay, I got my fill out of this. I want to try a different car. But a lot of people don't realize it till it's later, and I talk about that. But again, it's even restaurants. It's all these different things you can go out and experience and enjoy, and it doesn't financially have to destroy you a lot of times. And even if you want to go back to restaurants, to high-end places, because I know a lot of people do, and they get intimidated. And I've lived in restaurants my whole life, and they're getting really expensive. But there are ways to get around eating a meal really affordably. You could obviously split meals. You don't have to order apps. You can even bring your own wine and pay for a cork fee. And I know you want to maybe enjoy the whole, the ambiance and getting caught up with all that. But don't always think, you have to spend so much money when going there. Or even if you want to go to a special cigar place, let's say, you don't got to buy a $30, $40 cigar to enjoy it necessarily. You don't have to, order the most expensive bourbon and whiskey. But I do think, just thinking about and I kind of move from place to place all the time and enjoy the experience. I'm going to wrap it up with this. What I enjoy the most, if I, peel back all the layers, I just love spending time with people. And that's really what it all comes down to me. When everything is said and done, it could be as simple as just going to a simple restaurant or a high-end or going on someone's boat or they come in and jumping in my convertible or whatever the case may be. It's not just about the possessions. It's about just that moment, enjoying it with them and having fun. And again, not having the stress of bogging yourself down with so many other things. Because I do think a lot of people get, their homes are just too expensive. Their cars may be just too expensive at times. Maybe their business is stressing them out. So for long periods of time in their life, instead of enjoying a lot of what they have, they're stressing even when kind of trying to enjoy them. And there is a fine line there. And I think I'm going to do a podcast actually on that, where I saw a video where somebody was talking about, somebody making $250,000 a year that's stressed out of their mind compared to somebody who's making $80,000 a year and just living a much more frugal life, but just enjoying their life a lot better. But I am going to say too is I want everybody to make as much money as you can and go live the lifestyle you want. I'm not here to, cut that down at all. But I do want people to understand that I think deep down inside, what a lot of people are looking for is the experience of whatever they want to do, not just possessions, I guess you could say. So anyways, you got any questions or comments, hit me up. I'm at richcelenza.com. I have a program called Mastering Self-Confidence. I try to help men live an extraordinary life affordably. And I also get into many other things, hygiene, fitness, wardrobe, women, all these things as well. You can email me, rich@richcelenza.com as well. All right, take care, and I wish everyone the best.